Let's get to Ty France. So he was placed on, let me pronounce this correctly, irrevocable waivers?
No.
Did I get that right?
No.
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 Vocable?
Yes. There you go.
Oh, irrevocable waivers. Okay. Well, I tried. So he was placed on waivers yesterday on Sunday after the game. By the time this podcast is out, he will have gone through those waivers. I'm guessing he's going to get DFA'd. I don't think he's going to get claimed, but I could be wrong. So here's how those waivers work. So they put him on waivers for 48 hours, sorry. A team has 48 hours to claim him. If they do claim him, all they have to do is take on Ty France's remaining salary, which is about $2.5 million, and he can go play there for the rest of the season without costing the Mariners anything. He can clear waivers, and the Mariners can DFA him. They can outright him to Tacoma. He could accept an outright to Tacoma and go play in the minor leagues, or he could decline an outright and be a free agent, where he is therefore free to sign with a team and play for the major league minimum. The Mariners would owe him the rest of his salary for this season. So we don't know exactly what will happen with Ty France, but that's what happened after Sunday's game. Ty France will now no longer be the first baseman of the Seattle Mariners. It all turned, Lyle, that injury in Oakland in 2022. All turned. The collision at first base. He has not been the same hitter since. Since the All-Star break of 2022, Ty France has a 100 WRC+. Not getting on base a ton, not hitting for a lot of power. And this is a guy before that 138 WRC+. I lost the number for a second. 138 before that, 100 after. And it's sad.
You don't think that injury's still lingering, do you? I don't think it is.
No, but it certainly didn't help that season because he was having a really good year. Had to go on the IL, ruined his momentum. I don't know if there was an injury that hampered his training in the offseason as he got ready for 2023. Had an ultra disappointing 2023. And this year, as Ryan Divish noted, that he was not finding the amount of success he wanted to with his driveline stuff, and he was reverting back to a little bit of what he was doing in the past before he went to driveline, and certainly that didn't help. So, I don't know. But ultimately, he has not been the same since that moment, which stinks because the version of Ty France the Mariners got before that was exactly what they need right now. Exactly.
Got a bunch of hits, bat to ball guy, perfect two-hitter, hit for a high average, had 17 to 20 home run power, was an all-star. Remember in 2021, he was basically robbed of being a Gold Glove finalist because he had a really good year defensively. Mm-hmm. Ty France used to do a lot of things really, really well, and it's all kind of gone downhill since. And it's tough to say, and it's not fun to say because he's been a fan favorite here for a few years now, and for good reason. He's a really good dude. He's loved in that clubhouse. Again, all for very, very good reasons, but production just wasn't there. It really, really wasn't there. Again, when you can't break a league average weighted runs created plus over a 2-year stretch at a position that is in dire need, or not just in dire need of offense, it is a position that's a premium offensive position, and you are expected to have a guy there that can flat out hit and hit with authority. Sadly, since that injury in Oakland in 2022, Ty France hasn't done that. And finally here in mid to late July, now in 2024, the Mariners say we've reached the end of the road. And it's really too bad, but I don't think it was unexpected either. I don't think either of us were totally shocked to see it happen. I think a lot of people figured it was going to happen. And now it happened.
This was the right move.
Yeah.
This is the only move they could have made. And as we talked about earlier, Ty France is not the worst hitter on this roster. The problem is he's at a more replaceable position without bringing value elsewhere and without money attached to him. So that made him first of what I would imagine a couple of dominoes that would fall, especially between now and when the deadline is. So what is this signal now? Because they call up Jason Vosler to take his spot at first base. Not Tyler Locklear. It's Vosler instead. They could have called up Locklear, and they didn't. We expected Locklear would get a majority of the at-bats down the stretch at first base, but instead, at first at least, it's going to be Vosler. So what does this tell us? The first thing I think it tells us is that Tyler Locklear has not been lighting the world on fire down in Tacoma since he got sent down. He has a 97 WRC plus since he got sent down. Not the end of the world. That's still over an 800 OPS, but alas, still not good enough, and not enough of a indication that the Mariners are trying to call Tyler Locklear back up as soon as humanly possible. So that's number one. Number two, they like what Vosler's done in AAA. He's got an 884 OPS in AAA, despite his lackluster big league performance, and are willing to give him a shot. Okay, at this point, for what the Mariners have gotten at first base, you're willing to try whatever. But here's what I think is the most likely scenario. They don't want to put Tyler Locklear on the big league roster and have him play every single day until they know they're not going to trade him. I think that's the most likely scenario. You don't want to bring Tyler Locklear up to the big league roster, plant him at first base, put him in the lineup, and have him play each of the next 7 games, and then trade him without knowing what his future will be.
Yeah.
And I think that makes the most sense. It's easier to trade someone in AAA than it is to trade them off your big league roster.
I think that's all right. And the fact he has not lit it up in AAA since being optioned probably has something to do with it too. He hasn't had that many games in Tacoma. We talked about before his debut, he'd only had 10. Obviously, he was injured for a part of 2023, which is why he didn't get to AAA faster. But it's probably part of it. Paired with, you're probably right. They probably don't know exactly what this trade deadline is going to look like and if he is going to get packaged somewhere. Now, if the Mariners still hold on to Tyler Locklear post-trade deadline, and I actually think they will, he's going to be the first baseman. Now, it might not be right on August 1st, but I don't think it'll be that long after. Assuming he continues to progress in AAA and has some good games in the next week, week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it is, he'll be on the big league roster. Because here's the other thing, too. By sending Ty France out of town, you are signaling one of two things. Either you are going to go make a big acquisition for a first baseman. Maybe that means Vladdy, although I'm not really sure he's available. Or you are saying to people, our first baseman of the future is Tyler Locklear. So after the trade deadline, if they do not have a Vlad Guerrero Jr. on their roster, Tyler Locklear is probably going to be the first baseman. Again, it might not be right at August 1st. Maybe it's August 10th. But Tyler Locklear is the first baseman of the future, and for good reason. He's got his upside is very real. He's got real power. He got comped to Pete Alonso when he was drafted. He's tore it up through the minor leagues in his career so far. There's a lot to really like about him. But you're right. Could he be involved in a trade package? We don't know. But after the deadline ends, probably won't be long till we see him in the big leagues.
If he was up playing every day from August on, would you be confident enough in the offensive production you'd get from first?
Well, he's unproven. So in that sense, you don't know for certain what you're getting. But again, I really like what Tyler Locklear has the potential to do. I think he'd be better than what Ty France has done this year.
So is that a yes or a no?
Okay. You're right. I kind of dodged around that question. I guess the answer is no because, again, by a technicality, he is unproven.
Yeah.
He has not played an elongated amount of time in the big leagues.
Yeah. And I'm with you. And I think he'd hit a few fun home runs. But ultimately, him and Ty France offensively, even though Locklear's sample is smaller, is about the same. If we're just looking at WRC+, it's about the same. And I told you that I'm not convinced that Tyler Locklear over these next 2 months, not talking about 2025 or 2026, just these next 2 months in his first big league season, I'm not convinced he would put up better offensive production than Ty France would. Now the Mariners could be willing to roll the dice and bank that he would. He could. It's possible. Offense is down across the league. All he needs to do is essentially get on a hot home run streak, and he'll have better production than Ty France. That's it. Doesn't need to walk a ton. Doesn't need to hit for a high average. Just needs to crush a few home runs, and that slugging percentage will jack all the offensive numbers up enough that they need to. However, I still think from the move that was made with Ty France going on waivers and Vosler coming up instead of Locklear is that they're first prioritizing adding a first baseman at the trade deadline. First baseman at the trade deadline first, and then Locklear second.
Yeah, it's possible. But again, there's going to be some position post-trade deadline, well, more than one, people are not going to feel the utmost confidence in. So somewhere you're...
Really?
Yeah. Like somewhere you're going to feel like that.
What?
Because again, you're not I would love to see them see the Mariners make a bunch of new trades, but they're also not trading for 7 new bats, aka every position except catcher and center field. Like they're just not going to do that. So
well, we actually counted earlier. I think 9 would be the right number.
9.
Let's see.
Well,
1.
You're not moving
2,
talent, Julio.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, had to go back and recount. Well, the numbers get all mixed up, Just blends together.
Well, there's 9 positions on a baseball field, right?
Well, yeah, but you need bench players too. Bench players haven't exactly been lighting the world on fire either.
Victor Robles has, although he might not be a bench player at this point.
No, he's your 2 hitter.